Hello and welcome to YouTube's for you. So in this tutorial we will be setting up a basic multiplayer climbing system. Here you guys can see I'm on my server and my character properly perform the climbing animation, and I can also climb up to the obstacles. So this is fully multiplayer supported. So let's get started, guys. So here's my default third-person project, and now I'm gonna open my character blueprint, and here's the jumping functionality, and I'm gonna right click and create a new event, custom event. I'm gonna call this hang trace event. So the idea is when we are in air or when we are falling, we will check if there is some ledge that we can detect, and if it is true, then we can climb. We can grab that ledge and climb, and also perform the move right and move left functionality. So for this I'm gonna, when we are in jumping state, I'm gonna use set timer by function name. The function name will be my this hang trace event. I'm gonna copy paste the name, and for my time I'm gonna use 0.033. that will be 30 frames per second. I'm gonna set, you can set the trace time according to your own need, and I'm gonna set this to looping. And for this I'm gonna first get my character movement and search for is falling. If my character movement is falling, if it is true, then we will use sphere traced by channel, and the start location will be my, I'm gonna use get actor location, add 90 in z-axis. This will be my start location, and for the end location I'm gonna get my actor rotation, get forward vector, multiply the forward vector, the distance of the trace. I'm gonna set this to 180 for now. How far the trace will go, that will be this value, and I'm gonna add this to my start location and connect it over here. So if I set the draw debug type to for duration, you can see the traces. I'm gonna set the radius to 5 for now, and let's see, here you guys can see these are the traces. So if the trace does hit something, then I'm gonna break the hit result, so this all functionality is now happens on client side only. You can put this functionality to server side also, but I'm gonna make the tracing functionality to client side only and put the result of location and rotation to server and replicate that to other clients as well. So for this I'm gonna, if the first trace does hit something, then I'm gonna get the location and add 90 in z-axis, and again use this sphere trace by channel. The start will be the location of my first trace hit plus 90 in z-axis. This will be start, and similarly the end will be subtract the 95 from my start location. This trace will be from top to bottom, and check the height of the ledge. I'm going to set the radius to 6 for now, and let's see the functionality. If I change the color, or if I set this to for one frame and change this to something like this, here you can see this will be the height of the ledge. And after that, if my second trace does hit something, then I'm gonna put another branch, and I'm gonna create a new variable that will be my hang location. The variable type will be the vector. Create a new variable that will be hang rotation, and the type will be rotator. I'm gonna set the hang location variable to if my second trace does hit something. So now let's make vector. So for x and y axis, for my hang location, I'm gonna first get my location of my first trace. I'm gonna break vector over here like so. Then I'm gonna get the normal of my first trace and make rotation from x. Then I'm gonna get the forward vector, multiply the forward vector to 35, let's say, and add this to my location. For my add the result to my impact location of first sphere trace like so, and this will be the x and y values for my hang location like so. For the z value, I'm gonna break the hit result of my second sphere trace and get the location, break vector, and the z will be my hang location like so. So here's the hang location, how to set it up. And for the hang rotation, I'm gonna set it over here. After the make rotation from x, I'm gonna use delta rotator, and in the Z-axis I'm gonna put 180 and make rotation. We don't need roll and pitch, we just need yaw. So for this I'm gonna break the rotator and connect the yaw to the yaw, and this will be my hang location, and rotation is properly set up. So if we disable our sphere traces, and for now let's draw debug sphere. The location will be my hang location, radius will be 20, color will be red, duration is 5 seconds. So you can see here is my hang location. So now let's move further. So here's our ledge detection functionality is completed. So now we will set up the multiplayer support for this so that we can climb and the result will be replicated and also seen by other clients and like so. So for this I'm gonna first create a new custom event. This will be my server. I'm gonna call this server, this will be call on server. I'm gonna call this server underscore perform hanging. I'm gonna set this to run on server and reliable to true. This will take two parameters. One will be the hang location, this will be vector, and hang rotation, this will be my rotator, like so. And I'm gonna create a new custom event. This will be the multicast event. I'm gonna call this multi underscore perform hanging. This will also take two inputs. One will be my hang location and one will be my hang rotation. Hang location will be vector. So these are my two events. One will be call on server and the multicast is run on every client by server. So after this ledge detection functionality is completed, if we found our ledge, then we will call server perform hanging. The hang location will be my hang location, hang rotation will be my hang rotation, like so. And I'm gonna promote this set timer by function to a variable that will be called my hang trace timer. And after calling the server perform hanging, we will clear the timer timer for finding the trace, for finding the ledge detection, because we have already found the location of our ledge. So this will be called my server perform hanging, and over here I'm gonna move toward the server, and at my server I'm gonna call multi perform hanging, and the location and rotation will be this, like so. So this is the main part where our character will perform the climbing functionality on my multi-perform hanging. First I'm gonna get my character movement component and set movement mode to flying, and then I'm gonna get my capsule component and move component to the location will be my hang location from input value of perform hanging. Rotation will be this, like so. And I'm gonna create a new variable that will be my boolean hanging is true or not. This will be the boolean, and this variable will be also, I'm gonna use this variable is also replicated, so I'm gonna use a rep notify for my variable. Well, whenever this variable changes, the rep notify will fire and I'm gonna perform whatever I want. So I'm gonna set this to true over here, set hanging to true, and get my character movement component and stop movement immediately after this. So if I play and run this functionality, let's see what happens. So if I press jump, here you guys can now see my character stops at the proper location, and my character is also in flying mode. So the location is, my character is somewhere not at proper location. I'm gonna go towards the hang location and subtract 120 in my z-axis, like so. So if I press jump, my character will be the proper hang location. Or let's say 90. Yep. So now let's set up the animations for this, and we will set up the remaining functionality from now on. So I have downloaded these animations from Mixamo: hang idle, hang to move right, and hang to move left animations. I have downloaded and retargeted to my mannequin. So these animations are available on Mixamo, you can download. So now I'm gonna go to my animation blueprint. Here is my character animation blueprint, and I'm gonna try get pawn owner and cast to my third person character. Over here I have set up the variable that will be hanging. So if my I'm gonna get hanging and promote this to a variable, like so. And now I'm gonna open my animation graph. I'm gonna use blend pose by bool node over here. If my hanging is true, then we will run the separate functionality. This separate state machine I'm gonna use state machine, new state machine. This will be my climbing state machine. Put it over here. If my hanging is true, if my hanging is false, then I'm gonna use the default state machine. As you can see, when my character is in hanging, I'm in basic depose. So now I'm gonna open my climb state machine and add a new state. This will be my hang idle. Go to my asset browser. This will be my hang idle, like so. I'm gonna set the blend time to 0.2. So now you can see my character is perform the hang idle animation, and the location in z-axis is not aligned to object. I'm gonna subtract the 120 from my hang location. So now my character is properly aligned to the ledge and perform the hang idle animation. So now the next part will be to stop this functionality. You can see I can move around while hanging. So for this I'm gonna open my third person character, and here is my movement input state. So first thing first, when our hanging is true, we have set this to rep notify, and this rep notify is calls. So on rep notify we will check if hanging is true, then we will get character component and set use control desired rotation and orient rotation to movement. Set orient rotation to movement. So if my hanging is true, I'm gonna set the use control desired rotation and orient rotation to movement to false. So if hanging is false, we will set the orient rotation to movement to true. Like so. So now I can, as you can see, when I move left and right, my character stays in proper rotation and also stays in proper pose. So the next thing is to move right and left from hanging. So I'm gonna use my movement input over here. So the easiest solution for this is to select rotator. When we are in hanging, instead of getting the control rotation, I'm gonna get the actor rotation, and when we are not in hanging state, we will get the control rotation and set the movement input like so. So with this addition, my character is properly perform right and left. So one thing is to over here in my flying, I'm gonna set the max fly speed to 50 and braking deceleration value to 1000. And now if I move left and right, my character is properly moving. But the issue is we only need to move our character from left and right. We don't want to move forward and backward. So for this I'm gonna use branch over here, and if hanging is false, then only then we fire our move forward and backward functionality. So now our character is moving left and right. So now let's set up the multiplayer spot for our moving left and right. I'm gonna create a new custom event, call this server move right left. This will be run on server and reliable, and I'm gonna use value one float input, that will be my value, and I'm gonna promote this to a variable, call this axis hang move right left, and set this to replicated variable to replicate it. And when we perform move right and left from hanging, I'm gonna use branch. If hanging is true, then we will call server move right and left, and the value will be my get move right of this axis value. So now I'm gonna open my animation blueprint and get my hang move right and left variable, promote this to a variable over here, open my animation graph, open the climb state machine, and here is my hang to move right and hang to move left state. So from hang to idle, I'm gonna hang to move right. The condition will be my if my hang to move right value is greater than 0, which means we are moving in right side, so we will perform the hang to move right animation. I'm gonna copy this, and from hang to left, if our hang to move right variable less than 0, then we will move hang to left, hang to move left. And when we release the input, we will move back towards the hang idle, and the condition will be my if my value is equals to 0. And we can also move left side from hang. Then I'm gonna set another state from hang to move right to move left. The condition will be this, and similarly move left to move right. So now let's check the functionality. Here you guys can see my character properly move left and right. So if I play in server, listen server, here I am on my client. You can see my character properly perform the climb animation and also properly move right and left from hanging. So now let's set up the exit functionality from hanging or climb up functionality from hanging. I'm gonna move it over here. So if we press spacebar again, first we will check when we hit spacebar branch. If our hanging is false, then we will call this functionality, and if our hanging is true, then we will call the exit functionality from hanging. So for this I'm gonna create a new custom event. I'm gonna call this server underscore remove hanging. This will be run on server. Set the reliable to true, and I'm gonna set the character movement to set movement mode to walking, and set the hanging to false, like so. So here is my server remove hanging functionality, and I'm gonna, when I press, let's say set this to some keyboard key. So if I press E keyboard, and if my hanging is true, then we will remove from hanging. So if we press E keyboard and check if our character is in hanging state, then we will remove from hanging. Let's check this to standalone for first. Here you guys can see my character properly exit from hanging. Set the blend time to 0.2 also, like so. So now let's set up the hang to move up functionality. So for this I'm gonna use another custom event. I'm gonna call this server underscore hang to climb. This will be run on server reliable to true, and create a new custom event. This will be my multicast, multi underscore hang to climb. This will be multi-class and multicast and reliable to true, like so. So from my server hang to climb, I'm gonna call the multi hang to climb. So when we are in hanging state, if we press spacebar again, first we will go toward the server hang to climb. We will call server hang to climb, and then server will call the multi hang to climb, and the multicast will fire on every client. And now when this is fires, I'm gonna get my mesh and play any montage. Play montage. So I have this climbing animation, and I have also created this climb montage from this animation, and I have also set up a animation notify, like so. Right click, add notify, create new notify. This will be my climb and notify. When my character perform hang to climb up, over here this notify will fire. So now I'm gonna play this montage and open my animation blueprint and add a slot for playing animation montage, like so. So now if I hit play, you can see my character perform the hang to climb up, but it is not exit from climbing. So for this we will use the climb and animation notify. So I'm gonna open my animation blueprint, open the event graph and search for climb and, like so. I'm gonna promote my third person to a variable and get my reference to my character blueprint and call the server remove hanging. So when this notifier fires, we will call this functionality server remove hanging, and that's it. Now our character properly climb up. So there is small improvement we can also make. Open my animation graph and for the false blend time, I'm gonna promote this to a variable. I'm gonna call this climb blend time. Default value will be my 0.2, and when this server remove hanging notify fires, I'm gonna set this to 0. Now you can see my character properly climb up to the obstacles. So if I run on server, here you can see my character climb up and also it is properly replicated to all the clients as well. So this will also run on dedicated servers as well. So that's it for this video. I hope you guys like this video, and don't forget to subscribe my YouTube channel, and also you can support me on Patreon and gain access to all the project files and communicate me over there. So thank you guys, and see you in the next one.